Alright, let's take a small break from Power Mac Madness to work on one of the things that I mentioned was kind of the MVP of the last video, which is this little iPod right here. Now, this one sadly has a bit of an issue. If I mess around a little bit here, eventually the clickwheel just gives up and stops working. But of course, this time it's going to work completely fine. But the clickwheel works very intermittently, and of course, when I'm on video, this time it actually wants to work. Nope, there it goes. So as we can see, now it's completely dead. It doesn't want to work. And now it does. So, the reason this happened is because I opted to pull this thing apart and redo the clickwheel adhesive, and that didn't go over so well. I'm guessing I may have flexed the ribbon a little too much, but this is also not pressing down very well because I just epoxied this thing back in, or I think I actually used E6000, I can't remember. But either way, I redid it and screwed up, and well, at the moment I just kind of gave up on it and fell back to using my 5th gen iPod for music. But I really miss the monochrome, boys, so I'm going to take this thing apart and we're going to replace it with a new front panel. Well, new as in used, but should be working. Thanks to Elite Obsolete Electronics, of course. Not sponsored, but that's where I get all my stuff. But here is the new part, and looks to be in decent shape at the very least. But yeah, this has got the stock adhesive on it, it looks, and everything clicks very nicely. So let's go ahead and get this on. These iPods are very easy to get into, thankfully. Just unfortunately, the monochrome ones, I believe, have a deeper connector on them, so you have to wiggle them a little bit more to get them out, but there we go. I have this thing all taped in because these red flash adapters like to have some issues if even a little, they back out even a little bit, so I prefer to just tape it all in and be done with it. So let's pull the battery, use the masking tape because masking tape is a lot easier to deal with. And now we need a screwdriver. I'm going to use my backup screwdriver set because my go-to set is actually really messed up at the moment because I've got it everywhere and nowhere. So we're just going to use this, which I kind of like this handle a bit more because it is beefy as frig. But yeah, we just come in here and just spin all these screws right out. And I believe I'm actually missing one somewhere in here. I could be wrong. That could be my iPod photo. It is occurring to me I maybe should have done the overhead view for this video, but who cares? Anyway, with the board basically floating free, we can get the battery out. I don't know if this one's going to spicy pillow status. It's a little bit thick, but I think it'll be alright. Pull this. Go ahead and just snake in here and hold that in place. Oh, we're being held up by one more screw. Whoopsie doodle. I'm doing this without my glasses because my near sight tends to be a little bit better, but I'm also just waking up because, you know what, my schedule is all messed up right now. I want to be careful because I actually sharpen these tweezers because I had to use them to get the jumpers out of my Power Mac G3. So now in this case, what I like to do is I like to just let the screen come out with the board, because if you try to pull up on this, it's going to want to take everything with it. And by everything, I mean the whole ribbon cable, because there's really not a lot of spare room here. I'm going to do this slightly off view, I know, because the screen is not wanting to come. But there we go. We have the screen. And I'm going to go ahead and just let it come forward and just pull it out. Because then you can grip the ribbon from the back. You don't have to worry about it so much. So I'm going to go off camera real quick because we actually have to clean this up and lay it down into place. So I'm going to do that just off camera because this is kind of finicky. Alright, that was not a fun dance to have to do there, but I think we got it all in perfectly fine. So now it's time to spin these screws back in and be done with this, hopefully. And before you think, well, he forgot to put the battery in, I saved that for the very last when screwing this in because I leave the bottom screws out, and then I can just lift up the board slightly, snake it on in, and we're done with that part. That battery is a really snug fit. All right, I have it loosely on there just to test to make sure everything works, and the battery is completely stone dead for some odd reason. But it does actually work. I may need to get a new battery for this, which is kind of unfortunate, but the click wheel actually works now. I do also want to do one more thing real quick. Headphones, to test to make sure that we have both channels. Sometimes that little connection, the battery's starting to come back up. Sometimes that little connection likes to go bad, and we'll have just one channel coming through. I do hear sound coming through. Do something that will not get me copyright stricken. Yeah, sounds like both are coming through just fine. So I think we're done here. There we go. Let's do one more test. All right. Pretty much done. I'm going to keep this around because this is still a perfectly serviceable faceplate. But yeah, success. We are done. Looks like I may just need a new battery at some point, because unfortunately this one seems to be suffering the same problem as my 3rd gen, which never ends, does it? Anyway, till next time, hopefully you enjoyed this little short video, and I'll see you guys later.